Hey guys, it's Arya filling in again for Adam tonight. If you want to see more of me, you can find my channel linked in the description box down below. Today I want to talk about something that hits particularly close to home. Me, as a Gen Z, as a recently graduated high school student, I am in college, and I have student loans to pay. It's a very expensive world out there, and college is absolutely essential to get any job anywhere. You need a bachelor's degree to just like an entry point, and honestly, a bachelor's degree doesn't even mean anything at this point. Yet here we have the President of the United States absolutely destroying the department in which all of these grants are given out. All of these federal student loans are given out. Education Department announced on Tuesday that it was firing more than 1,300 workers, effectively gutting the agency that manages federal loans for colleges, tracks students' achievements, and enforces civil rights laws in schools. Layoffs mean that the department, which started the year with 4,100 employees, 4,100 employees for a nationwide department that is dealing with students all over the country. Like, how are Republicans getting away with saying that this is a horrendously overstaffed agency? Like, are they misaligned? Maybe. Are they like doing the wrong things? Maybe. But like, being overstaffed? Definitely not. They will now have a workforce of about half that size after less than 2 months with President Trump in office. In addition to the 1,315 workers who were fired on Tuesday, 572 employees accepted separation packages offered in weeks, and 63 probationary workers were terminated last month. In other words, we're still paying these people. These 500, 600, over 650 people that took these packages, like, we're still paying for them. Remaining employees impacted will be placed on administrative leave beginning Friday, March 21st. The department collective bargaining agreement, all impacted employees will receive full pay and benefits until June 9th, as well as substantial severance, pay, or retirement benefits based upon their length of service. This doesn't sound efficient. Does this sound efficient to you? You're telling me that we're firing 1,300 people in an already questionably staffed department. You're still paying them for the next 2 months instead of just redirecting them, instead of just like transitioning them into the new administration. I thought we wanted to help the kids. I thought we wanted to improve education. Today's reduction in force reflects the Department of Education's commitment to efficiency, accountability, and ensuring that resources are directed where they matter most, to students, parents, and teachers. Yes, the best way to ensure the quality of students, parents, and teachers by making an already annoyingly difficult process to do. Like, I know a lot of people are addressing this story from the standpoint of like kids' lunches and like the high schoolers, and it's gonna affect all of the elementary schools and the public schools, and like, yes, it definitely will. But the fat majority of the budget that's actually distributed by the Department of Education goes to student aid, goes to student loans, goes towards financial assistance to students that need it. Why are we gatekeeping education from poor people? Okay, just looking at the budget summary by program area: Title I grants, preschool incentives, full-service community schools, first-century community learning centers, supporting effective instruction state grants, teacher and school leader incentive grants, supporting effective education development, school leader recruitment and support, school safety national archives, student support. I could go on and on and on and on. All of these sound perfectly reasonable to me. And if they don't to you, if they don't to Republicans in office, if they don't to Donald Trump, they could take that up with Congress, because that's where this budget summary gets submitted to, and that's who allocates the budget, and that's who funds the Department of Education. I'm so sick of them blaming the Democrats for it's the Democrats, it's the woke agenda. They're so worried about teaching the children about the non-binary kids. Ooh. Meanwhile, the Republicans are the only ones that are worried about what books kids are reading.
Shouldn't that have been the focus of the federal government, of the Department of Education for the last 40-odd years? No. Because they focused on ideologies. They focused on giving power to administrators and these teacher unions instead of actually helping the kids. And what makes me even more excited about states like Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama was not far behind them, is that these are the states that get mocked and shamed. These are the low-income, backwards, conservative states that the left and the teachers' unions love to mock and demonize. They're the ones who are the laughing stock of America, but obviously, they're doing something right. All the coastal cities that boast about their education system, sorry, you can't keep up with Louisiana and Mississippi because, as the superintendent said, they're focusing on schooling. And back to that point about local school board.
What a joke. What a joke. Like, I can't believe how these people will hold water and defend people that are just hurting them every step of the way. This is a 2024 report of the best high schools, okay, by US News. Top is Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Florida. Okay, let's look at where Mississippi, Louisiana, and what was the third one? There's Mississippi, there's Louisiana, and Alabama. There's Alabama. Alabama at 34, Louisiana at 40, and Mississippi at 45. Don't get me wrong, that's an upgrade, okay? They are doing better. Brett Cooper has some validity. If we look at these stats from 2022, okay, Alabama was 45. So they went up. They made it from 45 to 34. And I'm proud of them for that. I really am. I'm just not... I'm not seeing how that tops the all of the blue states at the very top 10, but sure, yes. This is the classic tactic that Republicans do for everything, is that they claim something is broken and it's so bad and it's terrible and it's not helping people, and then they get elected into office and they do everything in their power to make sure that program starts getting broken and starts not helping people and starts being inefficient. And then they point to it and is like, hey, look, we should just get rid of that program. Donald Trump tried to do it to Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, in his first term. And their most recent example is the Department of Education. If we just take one step back and just think to ourselves, like, what is the biggest problem with education? I would argue it's because schools are more focused on students being employees or being like factory workers that are just like trying to churn out the best return on investment than they are in actually learning material and digesting information and obtaining knowledge. That and the fact that for some reason 4-year degrees are required at the most ridiculous of jobs, but both of those could be easily attributed to Republicans. Under the Reagan administration, we saw this huge shift towards like business-like efficiency in the kids. This was also following us racing with Russia for Sputnik, so we were also focusing more on like STEM courses. So that, in combination with Reagan pushing this like business-like efficiency, in combination with this Nation at Risk report that came out, that was like a huge scandal that you could do a whole other deep dive on this. But like this in combination with like George Bush's like No Child Left Behind Act, in combination with like then this is like when Democrats come in like the Common Core and we start focusing more on all of these things in tandem with each other, all of these things building on top of each other have just created a very inefficient system of education. And it makes sense because it's the same system of education that we've been using since the 1950s or like the 40s or whenever Prussia came over, the 1800s, when we adopted like the Prussian assembly line model. Either way, that's a conversation to have. I don't know if the way that we're gonna fix the systematic errors in the education system is to dismantle the system, but sure, that's definitely a route that we could try. As far as 4-year degrees go, we saw this court case in 1971 that basically stated after the Civil Rights Act, employers couldn't discriminate against employees based off of their race. So they wanted to find ways to go around this. So instead of discriminating employees based off of their race, they discriminated employees based off of their education, knowing damn well that the only people that could afford an education at that point, that could get accepted into a university at that point, were going to be higher income white people. This court case basically ruled that so long as there was some type of connection to the job that the requirement had, it was perfectly constitutional. It was perfectly legal. And so they started using degrees as a very easy way to say like, hey, look, we can target all of the higher income rich people because they're going to be the ones to afford degrees. And it'll still be constitutional because technically speaking, you know, we need the qualifications for the job. It's just that rigorous of a job. This was very common and like very controversial in secretaries because for some reason like secretaries and bookkeepers started getting hit with all of these 4-year degree requirements when they're so not necessary for the job. Says someone who's been working as a secretary since like high school. Like, don't mistake this for anything other than just the complete abolishment of a centralized education system. This is so that in all of the red states, they can start imposing their Trump Bibles, sponsored and approved by the state in all of their biblical schools. This is so that they can dole out all of those charter vouchers that they've been pushing so much that'll benefit, guess who? The upper income people. This is so that the only people getting access to 4-year degrees that are basically necessary to get any job are going to be those that are higher income, able to get access to the advisors, able to bypass all of the bureaucracy. This admission cycle for fall of 2025, I guarantee, mark my words, we will be hearing about it. People will be mad. It will be causing discourse. This will have repercussions. Everyone thinks it's not going to affect anything. But lo and behold, the government actually does stuff sometimes.